The mover, Shri N.K. Singh.
Sir, at the very outset, I'm very grateful to all the colleagues, 18 which the Minister pointed out, who have participated in a resolution of this kind. And I'm indeed very grateful that, considering their empathy which they have for the need for social security, on the broader issues of poverty, you will recall, sir, I had the privilege that you yourself spoke on this resolution on the earlier occasion when it was first moved, and I have no hesitation in saying that I was privileged to receive the support of all members, cutting across party lines, considering the importance of this legislation. So first and foremost, sir, I'm grateful and privileged to have received such wide-ranging support, which was not confined to narrow partisan political affiliations. Second, sir, I'm indeed very grateful to Minister Thomas for his response today, which does cover some of the important areas which this bill or this resolution, if it was converted into a bill, would have sought to address. He has mentioned two very important steps which have been taken, particularly of converting these entitlements on access to food into what is legally enforceable. He has also mentioned the fact, the process through which this dialogue on crafting the present food security bill has undergone, from the National Security Council, from the Rangarajan report, consideration of the Planning Commission, to the group of ministers, and of course now the consultations with the state governments. So before I seriously consider the Honourable Minister's suggestion for withdrawing this resolution, which has received such wide-ranging support, I indeed need his clarification on three important ingredients. First, sir, I think that my colleague, Mr. Ahluwalia, today pointed out the fact that many of these things which are contained in this resolution are indeed embedded in our Constitution and embedded in India's commitment to various resolutions of the United Nations. The Minister is aware of the constitutional provision of Article 41, Article 42, Article 47, embedded in the United Nations new definition on the overall poverty index. Are we, sir, when 2 days from now the Prime Minister unfurls the flag once again and the ramparts of Red Fort, are we not in an honest position to say that India is still not in a position to fulfill its obligations taken by in the Constitution of India so many years ago? That indeed we would still be faltering in the compliance to our commitment made in the United Nations. So this is my one overarching worry, sir. My second overarching worry, sir, emanates from something which Mr. Swaminathan, my colleague, very rightly pointed out, that in the World Health Organization Index on the overarching framework of what should constitute the three pillars of food security, on quantity, which the Minister has pointed out, on access, to which the Minister has also pointed out, and of course on the knowledge of basic nutrition and care, which the Minister has also referred. My problem is not so much whether we are in compliance with the overarching framework of the WHO food security. My worry, sir, is, which is the second big worry, who would be entitled to this access? What is our definition of the poor? As has been pointed out, this definition has varied enormously, and that of course determines entitlement and access. And would we come to some degree of a national agreement on what the definition of the poor would comprise of? So that is my second, sir, worry. My third important concern, sir, which I wish to bring to the Honourable Minister's notice, is that I can see that he has mentioned about child, 14 years, nutritious food. He has mentioned about education, the important initiative, sir, on the right to education. He has mentioned about employment in terms of what NREGA seeks to offer. But there are two other important ingredients mentioned in this resolution on which I urge the Minister to consider. One, sir, is the right to shelter. And the other, sir, which is equally critical, is the right to safe drinking water. He knows very well more people in this country die from polluted water, equal number, which may be almost equal to the number of people who die from hunger. And therefore, sir, would he wish to address the issue on right to clean drinking water and right to shelter, which so far remains under-addressed? And my final overarching submission to the Minister is this. It is only a matter of the transaction of government business that this resolution has been placed for the consideration of the Honourable Minister for Food and Civil Supplies. Indeed, we are privileged to have the Honourable Minister for Law also present in this House. And I seek his and crave his indulgence that this resolution is addressed to the government as a whole. It goes far beyond the confines of what the Honourable Minister for Food and Civil Supplies deals with, because it deals in an overarching framework. It deals therefore with the basic strategy of not only the 11th five-year plan, but the broad contours of the 12th five-year plan, which is still under the consideration of the Planning Commission and the National Development Council. Truly speaking, sir, this is a resolution which would have deserved the attention and merited the notice and sought the indulgence of the Honourable Prime Minister, not only as the head of the government, but in his capacity as the chairman of the Planning Commission, because this deals with issues which, unfortunately, Minister Thomas, goes far beyond your confines, not for any fault of yours, but as defined under the transaction of business rules. So, sir, can we have the assurance that when we are discussing and going to discuss, as the Minister says, little later, the food security bill, when it comes to us, we will discuss that in a more holistic framework which considers social security and some of the under-addressed and unaddressed areas in a more holistic sense. That at least, sir, would give me and give us the assurance, not only to me, but my other colleagues who have participated in this debate, that government would wish to address this important issue in a more holistic sense. I would urge and greatly value the Honourable Minister's comments and observations on some of these issues which I have sought his indulgence and placed before him.